Welcome into the Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, in life you could be one of two things. There are winners and there are losers. We will go over the winners and losers from Ravens OTAs as it is wrapping up today. We'll look back on what we've learned from OTAs to this point coming up in just a few moments from right now. Before we get to that, though, folks, highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel as we are marching on towards 10,000 subscribers, just over 250 away from doing so. And you may be asking yourself, what do I get with a free subscription to the Ravens Rundown? Well, you'll get daily news and rumors segments where we are doing live shows from time to time here, and we have our watch parties during the season as well. And the more subscribers we get, the more of the live shows and the watch parties we can bring you here on the channel. So here's what I need you to do. Go ahead and hit that sub button, turn on notifications. Let's get to 10,000 subscribers, and let's have ourselves a heck of a football season. It's going to be a fun year for the Ravens. Why not have a good time here on the channel as well? Subscribe now for free today. You'll be glad you did. First winner from Ravens OTAs, kind of obvious, Lamar Jackson. I know he missed the very beginning of OTAs, but once he showed up, he lit it up at OTAs. And the biggest thing about what we saw from OTAs with Lamar Jackson was how well he's picked up the offense. And his relationship with Todd Monken appears to be very good to this point, and Todd's doing a really good job of working on the little things that Lamar needed to improve on, whether it's getting the ball out quicker or the deep passing game, staying in the pocket a little bit more. They've worked on those things, and it seems like, according to reports, that he has made significant progress in that direction. Here's more from BaltimoreRavens.com on Lamar Jackson of what he has done in OTAs. Joining the last 2 weeks of OTAs gave Jackson productive reps while taking command of Offensive Coordinator Todd Monken's system. Jackson looked at ease, making pre-snap adjustments, and had a crisp day of passing during the final practice open to the media. And as you can see on your screen there, that's from the final days of OTAs with Lamar showing off there and making a statement with this new era of Ravens football as Todd Monken comes in and takes over this offense with the changes that are afoot. So with that, here's something to think about as far as Lamar's role and what he'll look like as a passer. One of the things that we've seen Todd Monken work on as far as getting the ball off quicker, I don't know how many people know this, but Lamar averaged one of the bottom 5 throw times in the NFL since 2018, which means that he did not get the ball off very quick. It was one of the slowest releases we've seen of anybody the last few years. And so one of the things that they worked on was installing this system that's very RPO heavy, which is expected to speed things up. And as far as the deep throw goes, in 2022, Lamar was 11 of 40 on passes of at least 20 yards or more. Granted, the receiving core, we'll be honest here, was not that great. And so that was a big part of that as well. And they've made some major upgrades to the receiving core. More on that here in just a second. But with that said, just all those little things are only going to be to the benefit of Lamar Jackson and working with a new OC like Todd Monken, who's trying to sharpen up those things, comparatively speaking to what we saw under Greg Roman. All signs point to a very productive OTAs for Lamar Jackson on working those little things and learning the system that Todd Monken put in place. Give us one word to describe Lamar this season. What do you think of the Ravens star quarterback? What's he going to bring to the table and do this year? Give me one word to describe the Ravens quarterback. Maybe the one word is MVP. Maybe the one word is excited. I don't know. You tell me in the comment section. Give me one word to describe Lamar this season. Lamar on the new offense. Check this out. This is what he had to say in regards to his role here. Had to get that down pat before the season rolls in because the season's getting here. We've got a couple months left, but still wanted to learn the new offense and be with my guys. The new offense is smooth. More verbiage than usual. I like it. I'm loving it so far. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. That's Lamar talking about the offense under Todd Monken there. So, Lamar, big winner. Another winner is a new weapon for Lamar Jackson, that being Nelson Agholor, who the Ravens signed this offseason. He was the very first player the Ravens signed. And PressBox.com had this to say about Nelson Agholor, what he did to impress in OTAs. Aguilar signed to a one-year, $3.25 million deal, was the offensive star of the final open OTA practice, making several big catches. He made a fully extended catch across the middle and caught two back shoulder throws from Jackson over rookie corner Blue Kelly. Jackson will need to build a rapport and trust with his rebuilt core receivers, and he appeared to do that with Aguilar more than anyone else this spring. And here's one of the big catches that Nelson Agholor had, as you can see on the screen, showing off the athleticism. Good showing for Nelson Agholor in OTAs with what he was able to do and making his case to get a considerable amount of playing time. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball now. That's where we find outside linebacker David Ojabo out of Michigan. Last year was, for the most part, a redshirt year for David Ojabo as he was coming off an injury that he suffered in his pro day at Michigan. And we saw him a little bit towards the end of the last season, but not a whole lot. And now the expectation is that David Ojabo in year two is going to have an increased role in this Ravens defense. And as far as his health goes and picking up the system, it seems like things are headed in the right direction. Here's more from BaltimoreRavens.com's Clifton Brown. Showing quickness off the ball and getting into the backfield consistently, Ojabo looks completely recovered from his Achilles injury last year. He could be a difference maker in Baltimore's pass rush if progress continues. Here's David Ojabo there at OTAs after what appeared to be a very good run for him the last few days there. We got another defensive player that we will get to here in a moment. Before we do, got a great deal that we're offering just in time for Father's Day coming up around the corner. We have brought back the hat and T-shirt combo. Charm City Football. Here's your chance to get the hat and the T-shirt for just $23.99. Did I stutter? I did not stutter. $23.99 for this Ravens T-shirt and hat combination. Great gift for Dad. Maybe you want to give him the hat and you take the shirt, or maybe you give Dad the shirt and you take the hat, whatever it may be, or give them both. I don't care. You can get yours now while supplies last and get it right in time for Father's Day at chatsports.com/Ravens Combo. What are you waiting for? Great deal, only for a limited time. Get yours now, chatsports.com/Ravens Combo for this Ravens T-shirt and hat combo for $23.99. All right, so after David Ojabo, now we switch gears over to Patrick Queen. And a lot has been made about Patrick Queen entering 2023 of not getting the fifth-year option that he was hoping for and playing with a chip on his shoulder, something to prove. We've heard all the trade rumors and everything in regards to Patrick Queen with questions about his future, and also with the Ravens drafting Trenton Simpson. Is he going to be the guy going forward? But with that said, it appears that Patrick Queen not only performed well at OTAs, but also came in with a good attitude, a good mindset, despite everything else that was going on. Now, granted, he got the shaft in the Madden video game release. They did him dirty getting run over by Josh Allen, which just isn't realistic. If you've seen the footage, Patrick Queen had his way with Josh Allen last year. But nonetheless, here is BaltimoreRavens.com on Patrick Queen. Heading into a contract year, Queen reported lighter and quicker, looking ready to pick up where he left off last season, where he was playing the best football of his career, playing a full season with All-Pro linebacker Roquan Smith. Should only help Queen take his game to another level. There is Patrick Queen on your screen at OTAs, and certainly looks the part at this point in time, ready to go. Came in great shape, and he is looking to make a statement this season. Our final winner from OTAs after Patrick Queen, we go back to the offensive side of the ball. That's where we find rookie Zay Flowers. And we told you a little while ago here on the channel that every report we read about Zay Flowers throughout OTAs was extremely positive. How well he stood out, not only to the media and the coaching staff, but his teammates as well. He did suffer a little injury there towards the end of OTAs. Not expected to be a big issue, but nonetheless, Zay Flowers made a statement. And when you look at the wide receiver number 1 spot in Baltimore, it's kind of an open competition at this point. Whether it's Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham, or whether it's Rashad Bateman, one of those three, we don't know who the established wide receiver 1 is. And the way Zay Flowers performed in the instant chemistry with Lamar Jackson, it would not shock me at all if by the end of the season we're talking about Zay Flowers being the top receiver on this team, leading this team in receiving. That's how much of an impact he could potentially have on this team. Todd Monken, the Ravens OC, had this to say about Zay Flowers. I think whenever you acquire talent, you then assess where you can put those players in the best position to showcase that talent. If you have a space player like Zay, you have to get creative in ways to get him the ball and showcase that. And that's exactly what the Ravens want to do, is showcase that talent there. Look at the biceps there on Zay Flowers. That is something impressive, to say the least, in regards to Zay Flowers. First-round pick by Baltimore, 22nd overall. Mel Kiper Jr. had him as the number 1 wide receiver in this draft, the number 13 overall player. Good value for Baltimore to get him at 22 for the third-team All-American out of Boston College. We'll get to the losers here in a moment, but first, I want to know, who was your biggest winner from Ravens OTAs? Whether it was one of those 5 guys we talked about or somebody else, tell me what you think in the comment section. And I'll say this, there were other winners, but obviously we don't have time to go through all of those. Those were kind of the ones that stood out to us in particular, according to reports. But give me in the comment section who you believe the biggest winner from Ravens OTAs was. The losers, let's start with J.K. Dobbins. And I'll be honest, I kind of feel bad for J.K. Dobbins of what has kind of gone on, really just escalated pretty fast within the last few weeks. We've heard the rumblings about the Ravens potentially wanting to add at that running back position. They might have the opportunity to do so with a guy like Dalvin Cook, who's available at this point. We've heard the Derrick Henry trade rumors that are out there. And then there's Keaton Mitchell, the undrafted free agent rookie out of East Carolina, who has made some headway as well. That leaves question marks about J.K. Dobbins' future. And he's also, remember, entering a contract year. And he hinted his frustration in tweets about not having that extension and, not being so sure about how much longer he'll be a part of this organization. He did not participate in Ravens OTAs, so he wasn't there. Granted, it is voluntary, and he's a veteran. He's been through OTAs before, but this is a new system. And there are some question marks about how he necessarily fits into what Todd Monken wants to do offensively, as speculation continues to heat up about his future, whether he could be cut or traded, whatever it may be. It's not ideal for J.K. Dobbins at this point. So he's one of our losers from OTAs. J.K. Dobbins is. Another guy on our losers list is quarterback Tyler Huntley. Now, Tyler Huntley coming off a Pro Bowl year in 2022, but the last memory we have of him is what happened in that playoff game against Cincinnati. The infamous fumble, right? It was unfortunate the way things ended like they did. And with Baltimore and this new offense under Todd Monken going to more of a pass-heavy offense than what we've seen under Greg Roman. They're going to need to pass the football a lot more. There's questions about Tyler Huntley being the right quarterback for what Monken wants to do as a backup, if they would like to go another direction or not. And with the Ravens bringing in Josh Johnson, there is talk among the Ravens organization that Johnson might potentially be the better option than Tyler Huntley and could potentially be cheaper. We've also heard other rumblings about bringing in another veteran quarterback potentially to be the backup quarterback, and Huntley could ultimately be on the way out. With that said, here's more from PressBox.com on the situation. Someone in the organization believes Johnson could be every bit as capable a backup as Huntley, and he'd be cheaper, about $1.5 million. Huntley is 3-5 as a starter during the past 2 seasons, and also started the Ravens' loss at Cincinnati in the playoffs. And his fumble on a sneak attempt that turned into a 98-yard Bengals touchdown proved to be the game's decisive play. So there's Tyler Huntley. One more loser for you as we wrap up here is James Proche at the wide receiver position. We've talked a lot about on today's show the excitement that there is at the wide receiver position for the Baltimore Ravens with the additions that they've made, which include the likes of Odell Beckham and Nelson Aguilar and even Laquan Treadwell recently, and Zay Flowers to the roster. And those reports that we talked about earlier, Aguilar and Flowers impressing at OTAs, here's the thing. There's only so many roster spots. They're not likely to keep 7 wide receivers on the roster. And the next thing that you would point to, as far as James Proche goes, is that you could say, well, what about special teams? Well, Devin Duvernay and Tylan Wallace, you could argue, are better special teams players than James Proche is. So at the end of the day, James Proche, after the way other guys looked in OTAs and how the roster's stacking up at wide receiver position, ultimately could be the odd man out here as far as that goes. So who is your biggest loser from Ravens OTAs? Give me one player that comes to mind that your biggest loser is, whether it's one of those 3 or somebody else. Tell me in the comments section below. So to recap before we go, Ravens OTA winners, Lamar Jackson, Nelson Aguilar, David Ojabo, Patrick Queen, and Zay Flowers. OTA losers, J.K. Dobbins, Tyler Huntley, and James Proche. So there's the full look back on OTAs to this point. One more thing before we go and call it a week here on the Ravens Rundown. Today's date, it's significant to some. It is the 9th day of June. 6-9. I hope you have a nice day and have a nice weekend. If it's a nice day for you, go ahead and spam nice in the comments section, and we'll see you next time. Have a nice one, everybody.